Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. As you know, I'm coming to you raw and uncut. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. All right, let's get into it. As you know, this Saturday coming will be Crown Jewel. Should be a good card because they got some real good matches lined up. Even though there's 5 for the PLE, but I'm thinking that they should be good. I mean, and I say this every time um, for every PLE, and then I get disappointed. But I'm hoping that I'm not disappointed this time at this one for Crown Jewel. All right, let's get into it. I mean, the matches that I'm going to say are not going to be in the order that they're going to be in as far as the show is concerned. This is just um, my spin on things, my predictions on, how I think, or who I think is going to win the match and maybe why. Okay, we have AJ Styles against John Cena. Now, I know everybody's seen the clip, this past Monday on Raw. And as you know, AJ Styles has beaten John Cena a couple of times. He's beaten him, I think, in 2016 at Money in the Bank, and then he beat him in SummerSlam of the same year in 2016. But that next year in 2017, John Cena beat AJ Styles, and it was at Royal Rumble, and it was for the World Championship, and it was John Cena's 16th time, becoming champion. So as AJ Styles said yesterday on Raw, that it's going to be a knockdown drag out. It's going to be a barn burner. So I'm expecting for that to happen. I'm hoping there's going to be a good match. I mean, I did look at the matches that they had before, and they were pretty good matches. So I'm hoping. I mean, they were, a few years ago, but I'm hoping they still have the same energy and that they bring it. And at this time, I believe John Cena is going to win that match and stuff, as I see it, and as far as John Cena's retirement tour and stuff. So, but I see John Cena actually winning that match. Then we have Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. This also should be a pretty good one. Cody has 3 matches, one up on Seth Rollins. And as you can see, Seth Rollins here for the last few weeks have been questioning himself whether or not, he could beat Cody Rhodes or not, and then, Paul Heyman is telling him that he can, and then, Seth is asking, is he sure? And then, what happens and everything. And then, Paul Heyman, told him, you know, the, his vision and the future, are at stake. And then when he loses to Cody Rhodes, he might lose the faith and trust of Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And then went on to saying how Netflix was revolved around him and what he was going to do as far as the future of the WWE. So we'll see, but we know that Cody beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 38. And then back in 2022, he beat Seth Rollins in Backlash, even though he pulled the trunks and won the match. And then he beat him at Hell in the Cell in 2022. And then remember, Cody Rhodes had that torn pec. So, and I gave Cody his props on that one because that was a real good match. So I know that this match for the Crown Jewel Championship, it should be a good one and stuff. So, and I'm going to give that match. I would like to see Cody, win it again, but I believe Seth Rollins is going to win it, to actually keep the story going as far as Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed is concerned. And then speaking about that, We have an Australian street fight with Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed. Now, Roman Reigns has been getting destroyed by Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. Hell, Bronson Reed has even taken Roman's shoes from off of him and started calling himself, the tribal thief, and then carrying, Roman's shoes around his neck and everything like they were like the Ulafala and stuff. And then, just a few weeks ago, um, Bronson Reed put Roman in the hospital. I mean, he was carried out on a stretcher. And, that's what they were talking about, last night. That's how we have this match going in today. I mean, not today, but Saturday for Crown Jewel. Now, I would like to see Roman win this match, but I think Bronson Reed's going to win this match because of Braun Breaker. And I don't think they would be like jobbing Roman Reigns out with this loss. I believe Roman needs to get Braun Breaker because they're promoting Braun Breaker as the future, of the WWE industry and stuff, which I don't really see that, because they got much more talents down in NXT that can come up and be the future of the business and stuff. And if that happens, then Roman will come strong, beat Braun Breaker, and then hopefully go on to get a championship. But if Roman wins this and beats Bronson Reed, then that just gives him another step towards maybe going at a title, with Seth Rollins, because they still have all that to figure out. You know, um, Paul Heyman did Roman Reigns and CM Punk wrong, and that's why he's there with Seth Rollins, and here we are with this match coming up, Australian street fight. So I'm going to say Bronson Reed will win this only because of interference between Braun Breaker, but I wouldn't be surprised if Roman Reigns win. I hope he does, but that's how I'm going to leave it. Then we have the match between Stephanie Valkyria and Tiffany Stratton. You know, just a couple of months ago, Tiffany beat Io Sky, for the women's title. And she hasn't really had that much opportunity as far as defending the title and stuff, against Tiffany. And, we know Tiffany Stratton, she's been champion now probably around 279, maybe 80 some days and stuff. And then, Tiffany really hasn't been in the ring a lot herself. I mean, she's, just a few weeks ago defended in a triple threat between Nia Jax and Jade Cargill, and that's when Jade Cargill got her head busted open and that crazy retarded, pinfall that should have happened that never happened. And I believe Jade was supposed to, win that title, but because of getting busted open and stuff, I think they changed it during the, match, and that's why Tiffany is still, the champion. But I don't think Tiffany is going to win the Crown Jewel Championship. I believe that's going to go to Stephanie Valkyria. I mean, they're trying to push her, and I had to give Stephanie Valkyria her props because she's actually trying to learn the language of English and stuff, and she's actually gotten better with it, and I just have to give her props, for that, And then Tiffany, I think it's time for her to lose the title after this, Crown Jewel is done. Who's going to take the title off of her at that particular time? I don't know yet. There's a few people I have, you know, um, in my mind, but they would have to come back, because right now they're out on injuries and stuff. I would love to see Liv Morgan or Bianca Belair, do it and stuff. But this is the WWE. We know how the writing has been going, how the storylines have been going. So, and they have not been great. And then we move on to the next match, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, um, going against the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. And let me jump back. I believe Stephanie, like I said, I don't know if I said it or not, but Stephanie Valkyria will win Crown Jewel Championship. So now on to Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. against the Kabuki Warriors, Oscar and Kairi Sane. You know, Oscar has definitely been bullying. I mean, she has really, really, really become a great heel. You know, Oscar's doing her thing. You know, she's actually dogged out Ripley because, you know, back in the time, you know, Io was in trouble. Rhea came out to help. Oscar got jealous and mad and stuff. Oscar didn't want Rhea and Io, to be, you know, friends because Io was telling Oscar and Kyrie she didn't need help, you know, down at the ring or anything like that and stuff. But every time something ended up happening, Rhea would come out and save Io, and then Oscar would have something to say and everything, and then now Oscar's in Kyrie Sane's head and stuff, and so that's been a pretty good storyline as far as this is concerned with the four of them, you know, and I believe it's gonna go. I believe if Oscar and Kyrie win, you know, and I don't think, you know, and I've heard people say, well, Oscar and Kyrie should win, and that would get Io Sky, you know, to turn on Rhea, and then to go back with, you know, the Kabuki Warriors. But I think Io needs to be on her own, and hopefully Io can get a championship. Maybe she might be the one to go and challenge Tiffany and get the title back and stuff, and then they give her her title run and do it properly like they should have done a long time ago. You know, when Io was champion, they never really gave Io her time to run as champion. She was always, you know, in tag team stuff, you know, or you know, with Oscar and Kyrie Sane, which made no sense. She really wasn't defending the title, you know, and then you had Rhea running after after Kyrie to get the title and stuff, and then now they're together, you know, going against Oscar and Kyrie. And I believe Oscar has done Io wrong. She's done spit the poison in both their faces and everything in Rhea's face and in Io Sky's face and stuff. You know, she had Kyrie saying doing stuff that Kyrie didn't want to do. But, you know, the match they had last night on Raw was a good match. I mean, it was actually a good match, except for Kyrie damn near killed Io Sky when she Alabama slammed her on the ring on the ring apron, and man, and Io's head bounced off. Oh, that was like, oh my God, you know. So I'm hoping Io is fine from that. You know, we don't know. I haven't seen anything, you know, saying that, you know, I mean, because during the match, she seemed okay going through the match. You know, even though Kyrie Sane won with the help of Oscar, holding Kyrie's hands and getting the pin over Io Sky. But I mean, we'll see. You know, so the matches I think are good matches, and I believe, you know, finally we might have something to actually boast about and talk about and stuff once this is over in Crown Jewel. Um, and don't forget, you know, Crown Jewel is this Saturday, and don't forget it's at 8 o'clock in the morning. 8 o'clock in the morning. So get up, get ready, watch the show. I know WWE has been lacking in their viewership and everything, and we'll have to talk about that, you know, around the numbers because they've actually really been going down, you know, and hopefully this show will make up ooh, for WrestlePalooza because WrestlePalooza really, really, it wasn't a good show. So hopefully Crown Jewel will make up for that, and a lot of people start watching, you know, WWE again, bringing them back up, and hopefully we can get good storylines, you know, from Triple H and stuff. Um, so with that, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, let me know how you're feeling and stuff. Thank you for watching. God bless. Deuces, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.